We got to move on, though. We got to move on into, and it is with a smile.
And now Ricky's licking his chops.
It is a smile on my face that I get to talk about my Bulls.
Your Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, your Chicago Bulls. And that wasn't too bad for the, it sounded very White Sox announcer.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for. He does the Bulls games, right? I know he does the Illini games. And it kind of eats me up inside being a Cub fan. But
wow.
I love talking, like, this is one thing where me and Dave, this is going to be very therapeutic, Dave. That's how you described it.
Oh, yes.
When I told you yesterday we're going to talk Bulls, because nothing against Sean, but Sean doesn't like talking the Bulls.
Sean likes to rein it in a little.
We just got to pick our spots when we're throwing out Bulls references, but we're going to be talking about the Bulls, and really where I want to start with this is last night's game. 111-105 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers as we are recording this podcast on Saturday. And I mean, you've got Taj, what you said, 10 for 10
to start
that game?
Yeah.
I mean, he finished 10 for 13, but still 10 for 10 to start the game. Gets 23 points, 11 boards. You've got Rondo with a double-double. Triple-double. I forgot the assist numbers. He had 11 boards, which I was most shocked about. Wade having 20-some points. Butler having 20-some points. This is a team where all we needed was the starters scoring-wise. I mean, you look at the bench, and it was like 2, 9, and 2 from Grant, Cannon, and Nico.
Jesus Christ. That man.
You hating on Nico.
Thankfully, he made up for it with like 2 great defensive plays within the span of a minute, but that man could not shoot for shit. And
I believe your exact test was, man, Nico can't hit the broadside of a barn tonight.
He couldn't. We were lucky, though, because K-Love also was having some shooting troubles early on. He eventually started, playing I'll stand in the corner and shoot my threes when LeBron passes over to me. But I digress. This Bulls team, super exciting. They don't make sense. We literally came off like a 4-game rest and then played against the Lakers and lost. And then we're like, all right, Cavs, sure, we'll just take them on, no big deal.
Remember how I was saying, we'll be a 7-8 seed at the most.
Yeah, no.
And I put us right there in the 8 seed. I'm glad I'm wrong. At this point, I am glad I'm wrong. We're sitting right now in the standings, 2 behind the Cavs, 3rd in the East.
I'm utterly confused at our team and what we can do because. Look, this was the best game we've seen out of Rondo all year. He actually showed up and played defense, which is something that didn't know
Rondo could do.
Didn't know he still
anymore.
had that. Yeah, because up to this point, he's kind of done the haphazardly, like I'm going to go in for a steal and leave somebody wide open, or he made some really poor plays with not shooting and going for those assist numbers. He gave up open chances, and tonight he was really pressing the court. He was just like, fuck it, I'll just go coast to coast. Like, if you're not going to legitimately stop me and you're just going to assume that I'm going to pass off, I'll just take it straight to the hole. I mean, he looked great out there and confident. Wade looked really good. At the same time, I was a little concerned because he definitely took some plays off. We played some 4-on-5 out there a little bit.
Was this a game, though, with Wade, besides taking the plays off, when he wasn't taking plays off? Was this more of
This was his best game of the year.
Was this hey, I got to step it up to beat my buddy?
It was.
I got to show LeBron up.
There was definitely that playoff atmosphere there. There was some extra energy in the arena when we took him on, and he definitely played up. He went one-on-one with LeBron way more than I thought he was going to. They matched up really well. And then just Jimmy. Jimmy was a difference maker, man. He went out there and honestly just destroyed them when it came to his open shots, his defense. He got down. I want to keep going, but I don't want to
keep going, Dave. Keep going.
All right, so
I'll sit back and listen. I love listening. I love listening to this.
You're killing me over here. So between him. I mean, I think this has been his best year as a whole, and tonight last night was kind of like that highlight reel of, look, he's one of the best two-way players in the game. He can hit every asset of the game, boards, assists, free throw line. He didn't hit, I think he only had like 11 free throws or maybe 12, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. Then
Jimmy went
Taj.
10 of 12 from the line. Which is great. Amazing.
Well, I mean, he the other year he was shooting 89%, so he knocked it down a little.
I'm talking about getting to the line for 12 shots.
Yep.
That's what we need.
That's what he does. And then really where the game was decided was on the boards. We murdered them on the boards. I think we beat them. I think we had like 12 to 15 more boards than they did.
We had 49. They had 33.
16 it is. So Taji boy. He's been a rock this year. He started off on fire. and they couldn't stop him, and they literally just couldn't stop him. K-Love wasn't there tonight. Tristan Thompson didn't show up. So Taj dominated, and I'm glad that the thing that was nice was after he got on a roll. So he started off really well, like
10
I said.
10 for 10.
But when he was like 3 for 3, 4 for 4, the Bulls players kind of acknowledged it, and it became feed Taj. Like our offense acknowledged it and changed. And that's one of the things you didn't see last year. Fred Hoiberg wasn't coaching in the moment. He wasn't coaching in the game.
Last
he was
year
just
was a lot though.
I know, and I know there was extra factors going on, and there was the control of the team. But it's the fact that we're kind of playing in the moment and going, hey, this guy's really hot. We need to keep going through him for things. And they were giving Taj the extra opportunities. We were making the extra passes to get it over to him, and that really helped us.
Well, and that was a big thing for me. Beginning of the season, I was on the kind of on the bandwagon, but I was on the prediction of when it comes trade deadline time.
Oh, I was too.
I'm like, we're going to be 7th, 8th seed. It's going to, and that could still happen. The one thing I do want to say is when I said that, oh, well, we're 3rd in the East right now. Right now, the East is way more, I'm going to say, competitive when it comes to games back-wise than the West.
Yeah.
You look at the 3rd to 9th seed between, like, games back, so, like, the Clippers to the Lakers, it's the Clippers are 1, so it's about 6 games back are the Lakers from 9 to 3. From 3 to 9 in the East, it's 2 games. 2 games separate those teams. So very much of a closer conference in the East. A lot more teams. Like it could change day to day. But I was on it where it was like we're going to be 7-8 by the trade deadline. Trade Taj because he's going to walk at the end of the season. We're not going to be that good. Well, this team, like I said earlier, has surprised me. Has surprised us to where I'm on the side of. Maybe we don't maybe this year's the year we don't have to make that move at the trade deadline.
We don't try to
where
give
we're
up
getting
talent.
rid of somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like making a trade, and I know it's not an exciting thing, but maybe like a Michael Carter Williams type of a trade that we did.
I mean, he's a dumpster.
Yeah, you know what I mean though. Like that lesser player where
we traded Tony Snell for him. I mean, it's on the same level of who was our offseason trade with the Pistons?
It was Cannon. I thought we got from
No.
Oh no,
Dinwiddie.
Yeah, Dinwiddie.
I mean, that was dumpster for dumpster. It's one of those things where it doesn't matter. There's hope for Carter Williams to maybe do something, but he didn't show us anything before he was injured.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe we see like
could do something
a
later.
bench player swap or something like that, or maybe like at the most, if you really want to rattle the cages, maybe like you see a Nico trade. Maybe if Nico's not playing well and you feel
I
like...
mean, do I want to go into the Bulls' problem of bench depth? You know, something that we didn't have before.
Well, the thing I wanted to hit first was kind of like what you talked about, or you kind of mentioned, where this season is totally different than last season. And like you mentioned, Hoiberg was doing things... He's doing things differently this year that he wasn't last year. But I think it's a lot of it is we don't have the off-the-court problems that we had last year. Well... It's one of the things you trade away a player like I'm going to throw Noah into this too, even though I like Noah. You trade away Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, where Derrick Rose canceled that locker room, get him out of town.
Yep.
Didn't want to me, it felt like as a fan, didn't want to be there towards the end of his time, only cared about himself. Get out of there, stay in New York. I don't give a shit anymore. Mm-hmm. And then Noah, who... I like Noah. Noah was a good thing for that locker room, but towards the end, he was a Thibodeau guy. And there was no way he was going to be a Fred Hoiberg guy.
Yeah.
So you had to get rid of him. And now you bring in Rondo, who to me is basically like the whatever in the locker room.
Really? Because he kind of gives off a good veteran leadership vibe to him at this point.
I'm saying whatever, like, oh, it's Jimmy's team? Nah, whatever. Like that's what I mean.
He's not coming in trying to claim anything.
Doesn't give a shit if you see he's the king of the locker room, second, third, fourth.
But just get to the guy we all want to talk about. I mean, that man is...
He's the one...
He's the professional.
Well, he's the one that it's kind of like you traded D Rose for D Wade, and D Wade just brings this team together a little bit more, especially with just if you see D Wade's personality. He's just a fun-loving guy, always keeping it light. And the best thing was like him talking about, because this was his, well, obviously, first time in Chicago. This was the first time he's ever been on the circus road trip because he never had to deal with that in Miami. And just hearing him mention like the just bonding with the young players and how much that team bonded over that circus road trip, like that right alone, I'm like, if we didn't have D Rose this year, this locker room would be a lot different than it is.
Absolutely. And that's the one thing that it's one of those where you don't see it on paper, but like you can see it in the players. And when you watch them play the game, D Wade is that I'm part a fantastic, all-star. I've been there. I've done that guy. At the same time, he's part coach. He knows how to mentor these younger guys. You saw the effect on LeBron James when he went down to Miami. Brian Windhorst covered this. LeBron James kind of transformation from the younger, immature guy who was I need to do everything on my own, and if I don't, I can't trust my teammates, to when he went to Miami, he grew, he learned a lot from Wade, and he got to become this much more professional, much more well-rounded guy who understands the media, who understands the locker room effect on their younger teammates. And that's what we're hoping to see out of Jimmy Butler and some of these other younger guys, to have that kind of like soak up everything you can from Dwyane Wade, because he is he's been there, he's done that, and there's everything in the world to learn from him. And what I hope that D Wade also does is, and we've seen on the sidelines already, kind of helping Fred a little bit when it comes to game management. When guys come off the floor, you see Wade kind of put his arm around somebody and be like, "Hey man, what you really, did you see your opportunities here? Did you see where you screwed up?" Like he's got that relationship with these younger guys already built up, and that's wonderful to see.
The way I relate it is to, if you think back to when you were in school, and you could have been a part of a sports team, you could have been a part of an organization, anywhere where there was a teacher or coach, and then kind of that
savvy veteran.
He was a student savvy veteran. Was how they'd be in the NBA, but. Sometimes you listen to your peers a little bit more than you listen to the coach or the guy, because the coach is trying to tell you everything that he knows, and he's trying to get you to do the right thing.
But that's from his perspective, and it's a different kind of a message when it comes from someone on your own level. I see where you're going with this. I like that. Yeah,
and that's what D Wade, even though he's older than most of the young kids on that bench,
those kids grew up watching him play.
Yeah, but they can still now see him as more of a peer than Fred Hoiberg, because they're on the same level as an NBA player. And